If you believe in God, what is required of you? We're going deep today, so buckle up. This is the Next Simple Step podcast. I'm Paul Goldsmith. It's the phone call every parent fears the most. The one that, if it happens, it rocks you to the core of your being and changes the entire trajectory of your life. I heard the story of such a call recently. Micah Wallace, a young mom of 21-month-old Jace, received a call that something had happened to her son. Is Jace okay? The caller wouldn't say. She should just come right away to his daycare, and as she sped to the school, her mind raced with the worst possible scenarios that might have happened to her precious baby boy. When she arrived, she saw the yellow police tape around the parking lot and knew that her worst nightmare was a reality. She was told that Jace was left in a car in the Florida sun all day, and he didn't make it. Her baby was gone. When I heard that story, it broke my heart. I can't imagine the grief, the pain, the anger that Micah felt. Now, her faith in the time since, this happened a couple of years ago, is inspiring. Since that tragic accident and she lost her baby, she has found peace and even forgiveness for the friend who was negligent and distracted when they left her son in the car. Nothing in the world to me is more heartbreaking than when a child is abused or dies. This mother's faith is incredible. I don't know about you, but I happen to believe that only God can give peace in the face of such unimaginable pain. And then, of course, my second thought is, why does God allow such horrific things to happen? I don't know that I have the answer to that, but I do believe God is love, and thus, such a horrible circumstance must break his heart also. Well-intentioned Christians often respond to such tragedies by saying something like, well, God is in control, and I really don't think that helps anybody, and it certainly doesn't alleviate the pain. In fact, I believe it can do the opposite. Such a response can cause people to distrust or even hate God, which is not the goal. Maybe God is in charge of everything, the creator of the universe, but he's not in control of everything that happens on this earth. Did you ever consider that maybe in giving free will to people, God gave up some level of control? Humans have agency, and so we get to decide whether we'll love God, be loving, or reject God, do whatever we want. So perhaps God's love is uncontrolling. He gives up control so we get agency over our lives. And a consequence of that, horrible stuff happens when people are outright evil or maybe just negligent, just distracted. But if you're a parent, I think you can relate to this because you love your kids more than anything and want them to love you back, but freely, because it wouldn't be much love if you had to force or somehow coerce them, control them so they love you back. And really, you think about it, that's the trouble with love. It breaks your heart when it's not returned. And I happen to believe that's how God feels. So there's so much hurt and broken in the world. What then do we do? What is required of us? There's one particular verse in the Bible that I think answers that quite directly. The prophet Micah wrote in the Old Testament, "What does the Lord require of you? But to do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God." So to do justice means to do what is right, to be fair, and to treat everyone equitably, give people their rights. We have to do justice, but also love mercy. Not just be merciful, but to love it. To act with kindness and compassion and forgiveness. Easier said than done. That requires a heart change, hence to love. It doesn't excuse anyone of wrongdoing, but to love mercy means you have to forgive the person anyway. Now, there are natural consequences for wrongdoings, but it's interesting that Micah includes both justice and mercy in the same sentence. So we're to do what is right for everyone and to love mercy. Together, way harder, but more powerful. Justice alone is punitive and eye for an eye stuff. And that's how we end up with endless war. It just never ends. When combined with a love for mercy, I believe justice means we protect the rights of the vulnerable, but without being punitive to the offenders, to want healing and restoration for the guilty as much as the victim. Wow, that's really challenging. But another word for this is restorative justice, and I think that's kind of beautiful. That's why I believe the verse ends with, walk humbly with your God. None of us has this life or faith figured out. We all get a lot wrong. But maybe, just maybe, we can truly have peace while we try to make this world a better place as we do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. So I don't know what you believe, but that's okay. We can still be friends. We're still called to love each other. And if you'd like to share a response or anything else with me, feel free, send a text to 559-574-3210. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next time on the next Simple Step Podcast.